18 million blacks were taken out of Africa into the eastern parts of Arabia and the east and so forth and so on. 18 million, whereas the whites and Christians bought about 13 million from the black and Muslim slave traders in the continent, the West African slave trade. But you never hear about that. You never hear that part. All you hear is what whites, Christians, and Jews did.
Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you're watching from. Welcome back to my YouTube space. Of course, we are doing it the African way every day, every time. Now, in today's video, I'm going to react or to show you a video where this black Jew has exposed secrets of how Arabs enslaved black people. I've learned a lot from that video. I saw it today and I say it's better to share with you so that we can pick one or two things from there. As you know, the transatlantic slave trade, which spanned from the 15th century to 19th century, involved many countries. Black people have gone through a lot, in the hands of many countries. Number one, Portugal was the first European country to engage in transatlantic slave trade. We have Spain, we have Britain, we have Netherlands, we have France, we have Denmark, we have Belgium, and some Arab countries. This video here said that Arab people or black people are being enslaved in the hands of Arabs up to now. And that is right, because a lot of our black people or our African brothers are in Arab countries. Some of them have gone to work there, but how they are being treated is not normal. Okay, let's watch this video first and then come back again and talk about it.
In fact, what has this kept Muslims to this day are enslaving black people in Africa. It was Muslims are the reason why we blacks are here in America today. Not because of what Christians, white people did to us.
Weren't those slave traders white men from Europe?
No, they were Muslims.
Arab slave
blacks
traders.
And Muslims. The slave trade was going on long before white people, Christians or Jews even showed up. In fact, from 700 AD, from what I can research, go Google stuff up. 18 million blacks were taken out of Africa into the eastern parts of Arabia and the east and so forth and so on. 18 million, whereas the whites and Christians bought about 13 million from the black and Muslim slave traders in the continent, the West African slave trade. But you never hear about that. You never hear that part. All you hear is what whites, Christians, and Jews did. The fault of white Christians and Jews is that they disobeyed the Torah, and for the love of money to make profit, they abandoned what they had forsaken in Europe and took on the curse of Africa by buying slaves. But they did not capture it. In fact, Louis Gates has a new book, and apparently he is saying, something I've been saying, that over 90% of the slave trade in West Africa was black people and Muslims. White people, only 10%. Right. So you don't hear that kind of talk. But it's gonna have to come out now with all this media and information sharing. Everybody now can look in everybody's backyard. We can no longer hide the fact that Muslims are the primary reason why West Africans are in the United States.
Became slaves.
And not in the United States, but in Mexico, Central America, South America. 94% of the slave trade that the Muslims sold went into Mexico, Central America, and South America. Only 6% of the Muslim slave trade came into North America, which then the white Christians and Jews fought each other over this issue and ended the African curse upon us black people. And we're free now. We were never free.
As a result of who?
Of white people. White Christians and Jews. The Civil War. The abolition movement. All of that America struggled with over the existence of slaves in this country. America, the United States did not start slavery. That's a misnomer. The United States inherited the slavery from the British in 1776. The British did not start it. They bought it from Africa. Right. The Muslims.
But the Confederacy did enslave black slaves.
No, they held slaves. They kept slaves. They kept slaves. And that's what led to the Great War, the war of all wars. Frankly, when you think about it, that war is the very war that was the pivotal war as to what civility, society was going to be like throughout the world from now on. That is the high water mark of humanity.
Are you concerned about blacks joining the Nation of Islam, for example, in the inner city?
Yeah, I'm concerned because that's like going right back into slavery. But look, when you think about it, black people went back into the Democratic Party too. It was a Democratic Party held as a slave. It was a Democratic Party who put the Jim Crow racist laws upon us that has destroyed us for generations yet to come. So we stupidly went back to them. So it would surprise me if blacks went into Islam. But however, I don't think they will. I think they're going to wake up. I just got back from Israel. And I was over there in December for 10 days. And I'm working on a documentary that is specifically geared to black folks to show, a side of Israel that the world does not see.
You came back from Israel?
From Israel. And I'm putting together a documentary to show a side of Israel, the people, all the colors and so forth, what's going on there that you don't normally see. And I'm gearing it specifically to black people and to Christians, particularly black Christians, to let them know that our heritage that brought us through slavery and the Jim Crow days is actually Judaic, Christian, Judaism. And the Christianity, Jesus the Jew, is all about being a Jew. We didn't have this faith in Africa. We gleaned it. God gave it to us, and it's freed us. We have no legacy with Islam other than slavery. That's the only legacy we know with Islam is slavery. We know freedom through Judaism.
But what's the difference, the fundamental difference in your mind between practicing Islam and practicing Judaism or Christianity?
In my opinion, Bin Laden is a good Muslim. I have much respect for Osama bin Laden and Simon al-Zawahiri and the guys in the Sharia law, the guys who are Hamas, Hezbollah, Al-Fatah. These are good Muslims.
Well, they're good according to the laws of Islam.
Thank you. That's the point. And these other Muslims are not good Muslims. And I've said that to Muslims, to their faces. And I said to the Muslims who were singing and holding hands with the Jews and Christians, Kumbaya, and carrying on, I said that you are not good Muslims, and Bin Laden will take your head off because you have no business communicating and relating to Jews or blacks or anybody else. They should be dhimmis if they're not going to be Muslims. They'll cut your head off.
Can we invite?
So Bin Laden, I said this after 9/11, on my radio show, is a good Muslim. These others are fake, or they're espionage agents pretending to want to get along with Christians and Jews and non-Muslims. But in actuality, they're slowly encroaching upon our society.
What is there in Islam which justifies these acts against non-Muslims? Is there a scripture?
The whole Quran, the whole thing is based on they have been chosen. Islam has been chosen as the what do you call it? Politic that the world is supposed to live by. They believe that Allah, as God, has ordained them to execute the justice and judgment of Allah to those who refuse to bend the knee to Allah through the message of the Prophet Muhammad.
Which rejects infidels, non-believers in Allah?
Yeah, particularly Jews.
And so
then Christians, then the other people of non-Islamic faith, particularly Jews now.
So is Christian America safe from the Muslims who are now building mosques in 9/11 and throughout the...
No, we're not safe. Hindus are not safe. Buddhists are not safe. Atheists are not safe. None of us are safe if these guys have their way. None of us are. And they told us that. How many times must they tell us that before we get the message?
But is this only from Arab Muslims, or does this also come from the black Muslim Farrakhan community?
The whole Islamic movement. That's, if you're a Muslim, you must believe that.
Including...
If you don't believe that, you're not a good Muslim.
Malcolm X, Elijah Muhammad, Louis Farrakhan.
Yeah, that Islam is the only way to God, and there is no other way but Islam. All the others foretold of the coming of Islam, foretold of the Prophet Muhammad. Jesus foretold of the Prophet Muhammad. See, that's what they believe. This year.
And does this mean discrimination is coming through
this?
Really?
Absolutely. And if it tells you in the Quran, anybody who can just read the basics or ask an honest imam, and they will tell you that the only way to paradise is through the way of Islam.
Do you think there needs to be some kind of a movement within the black community to resist Islam's encroachment?
Well, you know what I'm doing, God willing, if I get viral enough and explain to people our history, black folks will resonate with what they know is true within their heart. And not only that, but most importantly, God, who is the same God that got us out of slavery through Jim Crow, that God that we talk about all the time will move upon the hearts of my people to let them know that Islam is not the way to go, but Judaism, which equates to freedom, is the way to go. Again, my people knew nothing of freedom in Africa. We were not allowed to have freedom of speech in Africa. You spoke and you thought what the king said, or the queen, or the chief, or whoever, or you'd be punished. We just now learned what freedom is when we came to America.
Welcome back. Now, for centuries, Arab slave traders captured and transported enslaved Africans from sub-Saharan Africa to the Middle East, North Africa, and parts of Asia. This was separate from the transatlantic slave trade, but similarly involved the forcible capture and exploitation of black people. Countries involved in this trade included Egypt, Saudi Arabia, Iraq, Oman, Yemen, and other regions of Arabian Peninsula. Okay. Now, enslaved people were used for labor, domestic services, and military purposes. But right now, this is back then. Right now, black people are still going through slave traces in Arab countries. There is a video I did about how our black brothers are going through a lot in these countries, and the experience of black people in Arab countries, it varies from one country to the other, because individuals are going there, some of them are going there to work, and the working condition is harsh unto them simply because of the color or simply because of the traces of the slave that happened back then. I don't think if still it has ended fully, okay? Because black people are going through racism and discrimination in Arab countries, most of Arab countries. We see news when our sisters and brothers have gone to work there. We see news where they are being tortured, they are being forced to do some things, and yet even our government cannot say anything, because I believe slavery still continues in most of these Arab countries. Now, in many Arab nations, particularly in the Gulf region, such as Saudi Arabia, the United Emirates, and Qatar, there is a significant level of social discrimination against black people, both from the general population and within certain communities. We have negative stereotypes about blackness that can lead to social exclusion, unequal treatment, and marginalized in the workforce and society. I've seen videos even where kids, the Arab kids, how they treat these workers who are from African community or black community is so different, because I think the parents have taught them that these are just like slaves, okay? They are not workers, they are just like slaves. So black migrant workers, especially from the African countries, can face poor working conditions, mistreatment, and even exploitation. Not can face, they face. And they complain to the government. I don't know what is wrong with African countries by protecting their people. Because once they are complaining, and once they complain towards what they are going through there, the government does nothing. They does nothing, absolutely nothing. I've seen a lot of my sisters and brothers here who are there. They tell you what they are going through, and they have talked to their agents back in Africa, but nothing is being done. I don't know, is the fear or is it because of the money? I really normally don't understand what's going on between Arab countries and African countries, because African countries does not take even a step to protect its people in these Arab countries. Now, many black individuals in Arab countries are migrant workers. They have gone there to work, and particularly in low-wage jobs like domestic work, construction, and service industries. And these workers often face abuse, harsh labor condition, and limited legal protection. This is especially evident among workers from countries like Ethiopia, Kenya, Sudan, Uganda, the Philippines. Yeah, they are going through a lot, especially from Kenya and Ethiopia, going through a lot in the hands of Arabs. So I believe when these black Jews say that slavery still continue up to now. Yeah, it does continue up to now. Now, another thing of concern, in Arab media, black people are sometimes portrayed in ways that reinforce stereotypes, such as depicting them as subservient, criminal, or exotic. These stereotypes contribute to broader negative perceptions of blackness, because what you are teaching the kid, what the kid sees on the media, this is what they will carry. What you portray in front of the kids, this is what they will carry in their entire generation. Some of the generation are facing, or Gen Z right now, who are facing racism, they are because of the parents, because the parents carried this from past up to now. So if we change the narrative now, that means that the coming generation will not face or come across racism. But because we don't want to leave that aside, because we are carrying it to our heart, our head, and our brain and everything, it's like a generation wealth, or generational poverty. You transfer it from you to your son, from your son to your grandson, and you find racism never end, simply because us, as the people who need to teach our current generation about that, we don't do that. What we do is that we exercise the activity of racism. Another thing is identity, belonging. In some Arab countries, the identity of black Arabs, those of African descent who live in the Arab world, can be a complex issue. While people from countries like Sudan or Somalia may identify as Arab, they can still face discrimination based on their skin color. The blend of Arab and African heritage often complicates their experience or belonging in either community. All I can say is that up to now we are still facing racism in some parts of countries in Arab. Country like Saudi Arabia, country like Qatar, United Emirates. And the fact that a black government keeps quiet, it shows that we are under sort of system. The fact that people can go through a lot, Kenyans can go through hell in Saudi Arabia, and Kenyan government doesn't talk about it, it shows that we are still under neocolonialism, under slavery. And it's high time, I think, we start talking about the harsh and tough conditions in Arab countries. Sorry to say, I have a lot of Arab friends, but I came across this video today and I said, it is something that we need to talk about it, because the tough hardship, the poverty we are going through in Africa, it has led to a lot of people to look down on us. The poverty level in Africa, how the government are, taking care of their people, not even taking care of their people, how we are being portrayed, how the media has portrayed us. It's a continuation of slavery and neocolonialism. For example, a president from an African country, for example, Kenya, is taking 200,000 people to go and work in Germany. Just tell me, what will the German government, or what will the government, the German people, take these people? They will, the stereotypes or the information we are sending to the world is that we can never do something. We have to take our people to go and work as laborers, housemaids to other countries so that they can get jobs, that we cannot create jobs in our countries. So the slavery, neocolonialism, imperialism, and everything that is going on a black child is fruits of what the black government has planned on us, because they don't take care of us. They don't change the country's perception. They're just there. And they are happy when their black children are going to work in these countries as laborers, or paying jobs. They are happy, they support. And even in some point, it is their business. They are the agents themselves taking people there. And they are being paid. They are getting rich out of this. I never understand sometimes what's wrong with the mind of a black politician. What is wrong with the mind of a black politician? Whatever he thinks is only getting rich. He doesn't think about changing the situation of the nation. This is what has made other races to look down on black people. Find even Latinos looking down on black people, and you are like, wow, we like the same. In the face of the oppressor, we are the same. You see Asian people are looking down on black people. We are the same. We are going through the same problems in these countries we are going to hustle. And I'll just urge a lot of Africans, let us build our country with our own hands and let us not depend on politicians. I know sometimes they put their tough conditions to acquire, to start business, to do what. But let us not celebrate that getting a visa, a passport, running from your country is an achievement. It never be an achievement. Running from your country is digging a hole for your kids. Running from your country is putting on fire for your grandchildren. Because when you run for your country, don't build your country, that means your country is going lesser. Your children will come and found it lesser. And they will do the same and make it more lesser. So, at the end of the day, we will go in a merry-go-round of poverty, in a merry-go-round of racism, discrimination, just because we failed to change. It comes at times where we need a generation, just one generation that will change the entire thing. And then after that, the generation that will come will polish, and the other one will come and build. We had a generation where they said no to colonization, and they fought. And came a generation where they tried to be leaders to build the country. This generation of right now that we have, Ibrahim Traore likes, Julius Malema likes, we need to condemn and to polish so that we can end some things like racism that's going on right now. Tell me what you think on the comment section about that video of this Geo-African or Geo-Black who is exposing how the black or the Asian enslaved Africans. In this topic, they are so sensitive and controversial, but let us learn. I'm not saying that Arabs are bad. I'm not saying that white people are bad. What I'm saying is that we need to change how human beings we think. Until next episode, peace be with you.